Good to have a few minutes together today, and I'm thankful for the mercies of God that preserves us and keeps us going the right way. I'm going to be in Jeremiah. I'll mention some other scriptures, but I'm going to be in Jeremiah chapter 6 in a couple of minutes. It's certainly a passage I love, and one seriously attacked by a crowd of different type of people. It's interesting how Christians seem to be so vehemently against other groups of Christians. Then when Jesus said they'll know you're Christians they'll know, we're Christians, we belong to Him by our love for one another. I want to mention, before we get to Jeremiah 6, this is a simple, kind of a 2,000-year timeline of churches, and we spent some time on this along the way in our Wednesday Bible studies on why we're Baptists and why aren't you a Baptist. But there are, over the weeks in these lessons, I've quoted people Catholics who talked about Baptists being the fuel for martyrs' fires all the way back to the 1st and 2nd century, and the 100 and 200 years after Christ. And not only were there other people like the Waldenses, the Paulicians, the Monatists, the Donatists, people who were very clearly Baptist in everything but the name, but there were Baptists by name. Our critics, those who hated us, all through the Dark Ages, the name Baptist shows up here and there, along with these other names, and it's just the reality of history. If people will be honest and not get their church history and their history of Baptists from Protestants, which is a problem. But if you haven't, maybe you don't go to our church and you just stumbled onto this Morning Moments here, you can go to our YouTube channel, FBC Wildomar, and there'll be a whole, whatever you call it, I'm so untechnical. They lump them together in the ones on Baptists, these series of Wednesday nights. We did a series on Satan, and there's multiple series. But we tried the important, significant, thematic type studies we lumped together, and wanted to just encourage you to know what you believe. Now, I want to do a quick commercial here. We're on Rumble, and these video Morning Moments that I put together, I still put them on YouTube because it's just the one people have the most comfortable access to. Their most commonly, that's the one that just everybody's used to, so they keep doing it. I was going to drop it completely, but one of our men said, "Preacher, there's an awful lot of people that aren't going to make the transition. They just do what's easy and convenient. They're busy." And so I try to get them on Rumble and on YouTube, and be help. But I hope you understand. And I'm not saying Rumble's a bunch of God-fearing people. There's so much filth on the internet. I'm just amazed at the junk. But we do have those, and then also I have an email I send out that is just a distribution list you can sign up for on our church website, and that's a Bible lesson, some principles about life, every kind of subject imaginable, and those go out Monday through Friday. If those would be a help to you, we have a podcast. It's also, you can find that how to sign up for that on our website, and just trying to get truth out and trying to be a help to people. God's been awfully good. Now I want to this morning take just a minute. I'm going to have to hurry here. This could get awfully long, but from the title you could tell where I'm headed this morning. Who I am. I'm happy to be who I am. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not ashamed. There's all kinds of people who are cheering about how proud they are of their ethnic background or whatever. Well, they don't have any control over those things, and I don't think they should be embarrassed, nor should they be proud. We are who God made us, and don't fret on it. Let's try honoring God with what He's given us. But I am a member of an independent Baptist church that is fundamental in our beliefs. And some time ago, I was in a situation where somebody was, almost like a cuss word saying, "Are you a part of the IFB, or aren't you one of those IFB churches?" And they were lumping all of the IFB churches together, independent fundamental Baptist churches, and in a slanderous, attacking manner. And I thought it's so hilarious. These people who seem to be educated and count themselves knowledgeable, but if we want to use those initials IFB, the very first one is independent, which means we're not associated, we're not affiliated. We're just not even. We don't have any ties. We have no hierarchy. We have no main pastor we follow. We have no circle of people we run with. We have no affiliations financially or legally or philosophically. Being independent first and foremost, every church, I believe the Bible teaches that every church ought to be an independent church. Now, many churches are in denominations, and they're Church of Christ denomination, and there's Presbyterian, Lutheran, Methodist, Wesleyan, Congregationalists, all kind of churches, and they are in a denomination. The Southern Baptist, whether they like to admit it or not, they are a denomination. They may not like that term, but they are. There's somebody who's ahead, and there's a trickle down of authority, and there's maybe some more looseness down at the local church level, but they put all their mission support into one big missions fund. And there's a lot of great people in the Southern Baptist Church. I'm not being critical even of the Lutherans, Presbyterians. I'm just saying those people have a loose or tight affiliation, but independent means independent. It means the independent church we helped start, Pastor Beard's church up in Hemet, Crossroads Baptist, and we were a little help. I don't know if we were very significant, but we flew them out first, introduced them to the area. I think we were helping some areas, maybe getting I don't know, whatever we did at the early days, helped them with some ministry things. We might have sent some people up to knock on doors, and there's some things we did, and we try to be a help to people starting churches. But he's the pastor. I had no authority there. I have no right to say what they do, what they don't do. It's none of my business. We believe in independent, and many churches we helped start along the way. One church we pretty well financed the early days of the church and got the pastor and the building and the people and sent them Sunday school teachers. And we had one couple spent a year every Sunday there at that church for a full year, teaching Sunday school 1 hour and junior church the next hour. And they devoted a year. Well, the church got property and they got doing well, and then they got hanging with maybe a different group of independent Baptist churches, because we are independent. And when the pastor was felt the Lord was leading him to leave and go somewhere else, I thought, I'd like to help get a pastor in there. And we kind of had a stake in this thing from the beginning. I didn't say that. This is probably the first time I've ever said that publicly, and I'm not saying what church it is or who the pastor is. But I think we put more into that church than anybody other than the members. The members certainly did. The pastor and his family certainly did. But we put some money and some energy and some hours into that church, and maybe I could be a help in putting a pastor in the pulpit, but I wasn't asked. In fact, I didn't even know the pastor was leaving until there was all the decisions were already made, a new pastor already appointed and all. So it's kind of past tense. I was thinking I'd like to have had a vote, but I don't have a vote. That's what independent is. And some people were trying to lump our church in with another church and all these other churches, all of you IFB. Wait a minute, Independent Fundamental Baptists, we have no affiliation, absolutely none. We don't use the same banks. We don't use the same mission boards. We got all kind of mission boards. We've got all kinds of mission agencies we use, different financial programs we use. There is no tie whatsoever. We're independent. And I am proud of that. I think it's biblical we be independent. The book of Revelation talks about that Nicolaitans, and that is the idea that some people are over the other people. There's nobody over anybody. Our church could fire me if they wanted to. I have no authority over them other than willful choice of following. They can come here or not come here. And they can give or not give. They can serve in the ministry or not serve. independent. We believe in individual soul liberty. It's one of the things in the acrostic, BAPTISTS, independent. The I, independent soul, individual soul liberty. Each individual is accountable to God on their own. And so very, very strong on this thing. And it's just when some folks were kind of slandering, trying to make me look like I was horrible. You know what? I'm me. And if you want to, just because a human being was breaking the speed limit in New Jersey, that's not me. We're both humans, but that wasn't me. And just because, somebody in Florida, they baptize babies, that's not me. We're all independent here. We're not affiliated. And we have that's what independent. Now, the F for fundamental, let me explain. Now, let me read the scripture here. In Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16, thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the way, and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Jeremiah said, look around. Would you look at how things were going in the old days? Look how they're going now. And I want you to choose those old ways and stand in those old ways, and you're going to find rest for your souls. But the people said, nope, not going to follow those old ways. We want our new ways. And I am happy that the two pastors I've learned the most from, my pastors, I attend their churches. They would be right about 100 right now, somewhere around there. And they're old, and they were old-fashioned, both World War II veterans, both men who played softball, pitched softball, in fact, both of them. And they were both independent Baptists. They were both independent. Now, this thing, fundamental, means you go back to the fundamentals, the most basic things. You can put a turbocharger on a car. You can put a 4-barrel carburetor on a car. I don't even know if you can do those things anymore. I haven't worked on cars since computers were introduced to them. But there's a lot of things you can do. You can put air conditioning, electric doors, electric windows. You can put a convertible top, whatever. But the fundamental parts of a car are tires, brakes, steering wheel, an internal combustion engine, 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder. But it's all basically pistons, camshaft, crankshaft, carburetor, spark plugs. In our day, distributor cap, those things are gone. But the day when I worked on cars. But fundamental means the most basic things that are necessary. You may put a electric engine in that car, but tires are fundamental. You really have to have tires. Now, maybe someday they'll get levitation cars. I don't know. When we talk about a fundamental church, we're going back to the fundamentals and the fundamental basic things we believe. We believe the Bible to be the Word of God. We believe salvation's by grace. We believe that Jesus was virgin born, that he died, that he rose from the dead, that he's coming again. We believe that baptism is underwater. We believe that the Bible is the Word of God, that we believe the Bible in our hand is the Word of God. These are fundamental things, the most basic things of our faith. And one of the fundamental things we believe is a part of the Baptist acrostic, one of the S's is separation. We believe in separation from the government. And you go back to the Catholic Church and the Dark Ages, all the Protestant churches, they were all government tied to the church. And typically, you've seen the Robin Hood days where the king was and the sheriff of Nottingham were tied in with the Catholic priests, and they had, if you weren't good, the government will get you, or the police will get you, or the church will get you. But Baptists have never been that way. Baptists have always believed in a separation. That's that phrase, not in any official documents, not in the Declaration or in the Bill of Rights, not in our Constitution, but in a letter from Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist Association, talking about we believe in this separation of church and state, which means the state should not establish a church. It does not mean that we can't have a nativity scene on the front lawn of the White House. Certainly not. That is not what that's meaning. It means the state's not going to mandate a religion. Maryland mandated Mary, the worship of Mary, as a Catholic area. And the different states in the colonies, the different areas, they had mandatory religion, Church of England, whatever it might have been. But America took the Baptist idea of liberty that was founded by Roger Williams and John Clark in Rhode Island, and they said liberty. that each one has the right to practice their own religion according to their own ways. State, stay out of it. So we've always believed in separation. That's a fundamental that we believe in. Now, you can't be a fundamental Presbyterian and think that way, because the Presbyterians were very tied government and church together, and not anymore. I understand that, because the Baptists and Quakers and some other very strong independent people took their stand, and the government in America started giving that freedom to all the religious people. But when the Edict of Tolerance came out, most of the Protestants were happy to just be tolerated. Baptists said, no, we're not signing that. You will not tolerate us. We will have freedom whether you like it or not. And the Baptists have always been on the other side of the tracks. So independent and fundamental. Fundamental, we go back to those basic roots. We also believe, and I am thankful, I'm an independent fundamental Baptist. I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed. I am associated with no one but this group of people in this little corner of Walnut Street and Mission Trail in Wildomar, California. This is our church. This is who we are. And our people pay the bills, and our people support missionaries, and these are things we do because we are an independent fundamental Baptist church. But separation, we believe in separation from the world. And we teach a holiness and a propriety and a discretion. And no matter what anybody wants to say or slander, however they want to do it, we have a high standard of moral excellence. We labor at this thing of virtue and purity and discretion. And I'm sure there are people who have a higher standard than me, but I don't know anybody who holds the standard any higher as far as morals and propriety and discretion and our deportment and the way we handle and what we do and how I preach. People in our church, people leave our church all the time because I'm so strong on holy living. And we believe in a separation from the world. James says friendship with the world is enmity with God. 1 Corinthians, Paul says, come out from among them and be separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing. We're not to be a part of the world. James says, if any man be a friend of the world, he's not the friend of God. So we believe in a purity, moral purity, a purity of demeanor, a purity of motive, a purity of heart. Those are fundamentals. So we're an independent, we're a fundamental, and then we're Baptists. And if you've not been a part of our Wednesday Bible studies, and that's where a lot of this is coming in. And on the other side, we were also going to be dealing with, this is modern. This is from 1600 to the 2000, where these groups of Baptists and where these different groups of people came from. We'll go over that. I want people to know who we are. We're Baptists, and unashamedly a Baptist. And a Baptist has, you got to come on Wednesdays to get it all. We're not Lutheran. We're not Presbyterian. We're not Congregationalists. We're not Jehovah's Witnesses. We're not Mormons. We're not Muslims. We're Baptists. And Baptists are a unique and distinct group. Now, there's a lot of versions of Baptists because, and you listen to my first couple of Wednesday nights on Baptists, and you'll hear where the different varieties of Baptists came from. And then in the next couple of weeks, I'll do this as well. But you know what? The devil's crowd is a critic by nature. Go to the company picnic and don't drink a beer and just say, I don't drink. And the stigma is on you. Don't allow your daughters to wear certain clothes at the beach. And there'll be a, ooh, you think you're whatever. And there'll be those assaults. Don't go to the movies. Don't tell somebody we don't go to Vegas and we don't do gambling. And you tell people you put your kids in a private school, and the devil hates it when people take a stand for what they believe in. And of course, there's the attacks. You're weird, but the fact is, when I get attacked for being and again, I am not a part of anything. I am in a building with plaster walls and a concrete slab and a flat roof. Dumbest thing ever. Flat roofs, they get cracked, it rains and the water sits and it leaks all over. Why not a pitched roof? Let the water run off. But that's just but I'm not affiliated with the grocery store up the street that's got a flat roof and plaster walls and a concrete or a paved parking lot. We're associated with nobody. But we are an independent. We are fundamental in our beliefs. We are Baptist, very, very clearly, distinctly Baptist, and I am happy to be who I am. I'm unashamed. I'm not embarrassed theologically. I'd love to open the scriptures up and tell people I love being who I am. I love my family. I love my country. I love my church. I love my background. But see, the devil would want to make you be embarrassed for who you are. Oh, in these days, if you're a white American male with a job, you are the offscouring. No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I pay taxes and keep Social Security payments made to some senior citizens, and I work for a living, and I drive on the streets, and I buy groceries, and I tip heavy, and I am not embarrassed to be a white male with a job, and not embarrassed in the least. And you're not going to make me feel embarrassed. And I don't look down on anybody who's different. I don't look down on the unemployed. We got homeless people in our church, and we got people with all kinds of problems in our church. I got problems. You got problems. You're not going to make me embarrassed for being a man, for being a man that has a haircut, for being a man that knows he's a man. There's no question in my gender that I married a woman. I'm not embarrassed about those things, and I'm not about to be embarrassed that I'm a Baptist, that I'm a fundamental Baptist, that I'm an independent. Independent means I'm not in the any Baptist denomination. We are independent. And because of that, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. We're what we are. And you may not like us, but I like us. And I like our members, and I like our zeal, and I like our soul winning, and I like our dozens of young people in Bible college every year. And I like our more young people now starting church. Another one of our, we got one of our young men on deputation, another one of our young men starting a church in the next few months. And I like being a part of what I am, and I'm proud of it, and thank God for not proud that I did anything. I'm just glad. I'm honored to be an American, and thankful for it. Hey, hope you have a great day. Be thankful for who you are and who God made you. If you're short, just be thankful God made short people, and if you're other dimensions, then thank God that you got a God who loves you and walks you through this life. What a great God we have. What a great life. Don't let the critics get you discouraged about who you are. And don't be embarrassed when you're slandered. If the devil's not after you, you are obviously doing nothing. So, just a thought. And if you're being attacked, you're probably on the right track. Hey, have a good day. Join us again at our next morning moments together.